Welcome back to the Teacher's Tribe podcast with your host, Maxine McFarlane. I am a Jamaican educator living in the United States of America and a nurturer of minds and hearts. Today, you will hear the second part of the conversation with Dr. Denise Hunter as we continue to talk about the 5 keys to wellness. Last week, she introduced us to the acronym FOUNT, that's FOUNT, and talked about the first 3 keys. With all that is happening in this year 2020, these keys will prove to be helpful when applied to our lives. Don't keep this valuable information to yourself. Instead, feel free to share it with friends, family members, and anyone else who will benefit. Let's listen to the rest of the conversation. All right, so now on to key number 4. What's your 4th key to wellness?
4th key is the N, which is for natural. And this is where we talk about avoiding toxins, natural remedies, and water or hydration.
You made that sound like we should avoid toxins, natural remedies, and water.
Avoid all of those things. Every last one. Let me say it again.
Please.
The parts are 1, avoiding toxins. The second one is understanding natural remedies. And the third part is water. That sounds better, right?
Clarity. Thank you for that clarity. I didn't want anybody to leave here thinking that we should be avoiding natural remedies and water.
And water.
Right, so elaborate on that a bit, Dr. Denise.
Avoiding toxins. I mean, we've kind of alluded to it as we were going through the usual suspects: the alcohol, drugs, smoking. All of those are going to make a bad situation worse. And unfortunately, especially if you're looking at adults, a lot of adults reach for those things to manage their stress and anxiety. I read a quote the other day, is that Dr. Amen. What is Daniel Amen? If you don't know about him, he does a lot of work in the brain. His quote was like, you have to protect the organ that controls everything. And when you're having issues with anxiety, you don't want to put stuff in your brain that's going to damage it. Alcohol damages your brain. Drugs damage your brain. Smoking damages your brain. You're not feeling well, and you're not feeling well in the brain, and you're using something that will damage it to try to fix it.
But it's so funny that most times that's what happens. People are feeling anxious or depressed or just out of sorts, and that's the go-to.
Yeah,
it's almost like they want to dull the pain, or just something to hide behind, and that they reach for something of that nature.
That's exactly what it does. It just dulls it, because I mean, yes, it does. I mean, some of the chemical things that are happening in your body, it does dull it, but it comes right back. And then you have to, it's kind of going back to the cycle that we got into with the sugary foods, eating to dull your pain. You end up in this cycle of having, because the insulin overshots and you got to eat, and then you end up in this cycle. It's the same thing with those kind of techniques to manage your stress and anxiety. But when we go back to understanding and talk about understanding how your interactions with other people can affect your health, one of the parts is just finding other humans that can help you. Get a therapist, get somebody to help you sort out some of these things if you can't see the answer for yourself.
Yeah, so you won't be led down the road towards the toxins.
Yeah, because it's an easy fix. And unfortunately, right now, we live in a world of easy fixes. And these kind, and it's not even now, these kind of things have been around a long time. Humans have figured out a long time ago how to ferment fruits and things to make liquor. and they've been using it to numb themselves for years. And just because it's been around for a while, it's still not, it wasn't effective then, and it's not effective now.
Exactly.
Yeah, avoid them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the natural remedies, how about something as simple as just sunlight? I saw a fact: 90% of our time as adults is spent indoors.
Wow.
90. But it's true. I mean, when you actually look at it, you're like, today, if you look at even today, how much time did I actually go outside? Today I went outside for a total of 1 hour. How about yourself? How long did you go outside for today?
Maybe less than that. Because I didn't take my walk today. No, you're right. But as a girl who grew up in Jamaica, it was quite the opposite growing up. We were always outside, and I know sometimes when the winter months come on, then living in a country that has seasons, people tend to want to stay in more. But that was just something that was just commonplace for us growing up. It was just so natural to be out there. And you just made me think of when my middle child was born, and he had newborn jaundice, and it was winter. He was my December baby, and we were up in New Jersey, and all my relatives were saying, "Oh, if only you were in Jamaica," because the parents traditionally would have their newborns in the morning, early outside walking, instead of giving them morning sun.
Yes,
But
sun and the baby.
exactly, and in no time, that was just a natural remedy. He wouldn't have to be going under these lights in the hospital.
Yep. The sun is there, and that vitamin D, it works wonders for our brains and our mood. All the season affective disorder. It's a real thing where people are deprived of sunlight and they start getting sad and depressed. The sunlight is there and it's free. Once again, going back to what you said, that none of this stuff don't cost anything. Don't forget those simple things of just going outside to really lift your mood. And then hydration. Your body works best when it's hydrated. It just does. There's another book. It's called You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty. So many things that when our body doesn't have enough fuel, it just doesn't work well. Even our brain, your brain is very liquidy and fuel and watery. And if it's dehydrated and shrivel up like a prune, it's not going to work well. You're going to see why you'll not feel as well in the brain. So drink plenty of fluids so your body can be at its optimal best.
Yeah, I think back to I say this phrase cautiously because I've been looking for the blessings coming out of the pandemic, and the last two things you mentioned are things that really resonated with me because I was able to be outside a lot during the time when we were home, walking the trails very early in the morning, drinking more water because one of the hazards of teaching is you can't use the restroom when you want to. So, I was able to fill up my water bottle twice during the day and, have it while I was at home. And I could feel the difference, just being able to get up early, walk outside, enjoy the fresh air, drink more water. All of that made such a huge difference. So I see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's amazing when you give your body the basic things it needs. That's why I go back to saying FOUNT is the 5 keys to wellness and wisdom to help you become your best. And going back to our definition of wellness, your body feeling at its best. A lot of times people are thinking they have to hop on a plane and go to Bali, to a healing center, and sit at the feet of a guru while he sticks needles in their back and chant. But there's still some basic things that the majority of us are not doing.
Exactly. Well, you talk about maximum fount. So we need to get that final key in there. Time for tea.
Time for tea. So the T in FOUNT is for time. How are you going to use your 24 hours to become your best? How can you use your 24 hours to manage your anxiety. And one of the first things we talk about is exercise, just like we just said about people not being out, being indoors. Go outside and exercise. When you're out there, for a kid, you need 60 minutes a day of going out there and vigorously getting rid of energy. I'm going to pose this to you, the parents that are listening and the teachers that have kids that are your kids going outside for 60 minutes running around and burning off some of that energy?
You know, one of the things that struck me when I first started teaching here was that this was something that had to be legally mandated. I was blown away the first time I realized that there was a law that required children to have at least 30 minutes of physical activity every day.
Well, that's
It
cool.
was just so unheard of to me
Yeah.
because, growing up, I grew up in a totally different culture. Play was just organic. I remember we had 15 minutes for what they call recess here. We call it break time. And we would be outside playing, had a quick snack, had some water, use the restroom, but we would be playing. And our lunch time was a full hour. So that was more than enough time for us to eat our meals and play until the bell rang
Yeah.
for us to return to the classroom. So it
And
was
even
just,
before school, when you got there early, you're out
mm-hmm.
there just running up and down and playing.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
even after school while you're waiting for your bus or something, you would be playing again.
Yep. It was just a natural part. But most kids, they don't get that. And I mean, even myself, I try to get my kids to do at least an hour every day. But sometimes if I don't force them or tell them, did you go outside today? Did you do any exercise? They would gladly just sit in here all day.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the how adults we can show this, we can be an example. For adults, we require a little less exercise because our bodies and bones are not developing to this at the same rate. But 150 minutes a week of exercise is what's the minimum required for health. Now, of course, do more, but the minimum requirement, if you really want to see some improvements in your heart health, your lung health, decreasing your risk for diabetes and high blood pressure and obesity, the minimum is 150 minutes a week. The smallest increments that should be broken up in for an adult is 10 minutes. Everybody needs to exercise more. We're a pretty inactive society. And honestly, if we go back to mental health, it helps. Exercise can help your anxiety. Exercise can help depression. And then when we talk about relaxation, and this is where I was talking about earlier, the deep breath, how the deep breath can help you relax. And if you don't mind me, I'm going to have another physiological moment. So when we are living in a very stressful state, the hormone that's dominating that a lot, there's a few of them. There's cortisol, then there's epinephrine and norepinephrine, or adrenaline and noradrenaline. Those two, they're interchangeable. Adrenaline and epinephrine, and noradrenaline and adrenaline. Anyway, so those are the hormones that really dominate stress and anxiety. And it's the fight or flight one, where we just live in that state where we're just always ready to fight or flight, always ready to jump on something, always ready, thinking something's attacking us, the world is coming to an end. And you're living in that state, and it wears on your body. It wears you out. You're having these hormones. They cause your blood pressure to be higher, your heart rate to be higher. And fine, it works well when you're trying to escape from something that's real. But when that's just where you're living all the time because you thought you can control everything and nothing's under control, and now you're worrying and stressed out and living in a epinephrine state all the time, it just doesn't work. It pounds and damages your body and gets you set up for inflammation. You heard that term. That's a big term, that essentially they feel that every single disease that we suffer from is essentially inflammation is one of the underlying causes. It makes us set up for heart disease, makes us set up for everything when we just living in this constant epinephrine state. So sometimes, we can just stop and take a deep breath. And what that deep breath does, there's the other half. Think of it like a balance. Over here, you have that epinephrine state. And then on the other side of the balance, you have acetylcholine, which is dominates the rest and digest, dominates the parasympathetic nervous system, the one that calms everything down. And a good way to get in that state is just taking some deep breaths, because it stimulates that part of the nervous system that balances out the epinephrine side. And I hope I'm saying it right, because I understand that concept very well, because that's what I live for and that's where I went to medical school. But I hope I'm saying it in enough English to let your listeners understand how that deep breath calms your body. It really
strikes a balance.
It strikes the balance because it stimulates the hormone through various pathways, various things that are happening, a whole stuff of things that makes the other hormone, acetylcholine, that can just balance off that epinephrine and sends your body into a more relaxed state, and you have less of that fight or flight, world's coming to an end thing going on. So just stop and take some deep breaths. It calms you down because it's biology. Right. It's not just, you're not just doing it because there's actually biology and chemical things and hormonal things that are happening to truly calm your body, slowing your heart rate, lowering your blood pressure, calming you down. Just taking a deep breath straight from your abdomen and breathe out through your nose. In and out. It just calms you. It does.
Yeah. So we need to make time for exercise. We need to make time to relax.
Take a deep breath. And you know what? Another good thing that you can do to relax yourself is a magnesium bath, which is just an Epsom salt bath, a nice warm Epsom salt bath. The magnesium in it is very relaxing for our bodies. The magnesium from the Epsom salt will be soaked up into your body through the skin, and you don't have to worry. You won't overdose on it. Our bodies are smart. It takes what it needs and it leaves the rest that it doesn't want in the water. And just, it really is calming to our nerves and our body. And one thing that I will always throw in there, after this bath, take a cold shower. Don't wash off yourself and don't just leave it warm. End up with cold. Mm-hmm. And it relaxes you so much, you won't even understand what just happened. Take the long, warm bath. And at the end of your bath, you go in and take as cold a 30-second to a minute shower as you can tolerate. And that's relaxation. That's how you can spend your time to relax and help with anxiety. And the last one is sleep. Sleep doesn't come easy for when you're anxious and depressed. And a good technique to do is just really develop a good bedtime routine of relaxation. You can do your deep breaths, you can do your magnesium baths, and you can even do some journaling to write down your worries and cares before you go to bed. Make sure that your room is comfortable. Make sure your room is cool. Make sure your room is dark. Make sure your room is quiet, and try to get some sleep.
I often feel like some of the children that I see are sleep deprived. And I remember the battle I had with my own children when they were younger, because they've always had a set bedtime. Once they got out of the nursing, waking up at night to feed stage, there was always a set bedtime. And especially in when they were in middle school, I got so much pushback because they thought they were the only ones who had an early bedtime. Nobody goes to bed as early as we do. But I see the detriment, on the other hand, in the classroom all the time when
Yeah.
some children are just sleep deprived, and it comes out. It's almost like the the engine within them revs up because they're fighting the sleep. You know, when you have a toddler and they really want to sleep, but they start running around. So
Mm-hmm.
it's manifested differently in a 7-year-old, but I can just still see similar signs that these children are sleep deprived.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's crazy. Sleep is not optional. It's going back to you as an adult to understand the important. This is where your body is fixing and repairing itself, taking care of some of the damage of the day. Sleeping helps keep you young, help you grow well, helps you to build a strong, healthy body that can fight stuff off. And little kids, they need like 10 hours. Middle schoolers, they need like 9 hours. Adults, you need about 8 hours. People want to chip away at their sleep time as if it's something inconvenient, like sleep is inconvenient.
It was so funny. Recently I heard the boys, my two younger boys, talking, and they were saying, oh, how they wish they could go back to the days when they could take naps, because back
See?
then they thought they were being punished. But now, oh, how they wish they could do that instead of all the schoolwork that they have to be doing right now. So
Exactly. You know, people love to take sleep as if it's optional, but it's not. It's not this waste of time. Your body is doing a lot. A lot is happening during that time. That a lot of important reparative activities. And then on top of it, you're gonna need the coffee to keep you awake. And the coffee makes you more anxious and irritable. Then you end up in this spiral again when just
that cycle starts over again.
the duct tape. We all just love duct tape. We want to duct tape our lives, and it's not a good it's not a good look.
So this simple acronym FOUNT comes with simple strategies that we can all apply, and it's something that we could use as a tool, especially going through these difficult times. So, Dr. D. Knight, I want you to just give us a summary about the importance of focusing on wellness, especially with all the uncertainty and anxiety that is happening globally.
Although I listed all these things and I made a little jokes here and there. Life is difficult. Let's just be honest. Life is uncertain. That's just the nature of it. Even if before we were thinking we had everything under control, that's what the pandemic has pointed out to us: the uncertainty and the things that we don't control. And we just really need to be easy on ourselves. Don't be too hard on yourselves about why you can't manage some of these things. But at the same time, while you're being easy on yourself, that understand that as human beings, we're resilient. We're resilient creatures, and you have these kids that you can teach resilience to, teach them to really understand that fine, there are hardships here, but we can overcome them. Here are some tools that we can do to overcome them and still live our best. That's my thing. Life is uncertain. What's that serenity prayer? Grant you the wisdom to know the things that you can control. And
The wisdom to know the difference too.
Thank you. Yeah. And what you can control is the 5 keys to FOUNT. The 5 keys to wellness. You can control that. We can't control the pandemic. Maybe there's somebody that can. We don't know what COVID's gonna do. We don't know what COVID part 2 may be coming later. I don't know. I mean, I'm that is not a prediction, by the way. I'm just trying to make an analogy. I don't want to start fearing anybody. You just don't know. you don't want to spend so much of your precious time that you have with your kids and your students just really worrying about things that you don't have any control over. Be present, really enjoy the time that you have with your kids right now. Enjoy the time that you have with your students right now, even though it's not optimal, but you work with what you have. You ever wonder, like, look out and you see people that are in poverty or in other countries and different places, and you're like, why are they smiling? Why are they happy? You know, they're just working with what they have. And that's kind of what resilience is.
So there we have it, FOUNT, the 5 keys to wellness. F, fuel. O, optimistic. U, understanding. N, natural. And T for time. So Dr. Denise, where can my listeners find you? You want to give a quick plug?
Yes, I am on Instagram every day. Every day I give a wellness tip in my Instagram stories. I greet everybody with a funny morning greeting every single morning. And I give a wellness teaching Monday through Friday. I said every day, but that's incorrect. Monday through Friday, every day on my Instagram stories. And then on the main part of Instagram, I always have some educational tips there. I don't know, I'm a little crazy sometimes. So you all follow me on Instagram, Dr. Denise, Dr. period Dnice. Beaugelin is Beaugelin. Dr. Denise Beaugelin. And I am quirky, but on top of being what I have I think I have to be educational, entertaining, engaging, and there's another one. What did I say? 4, but there's 3 of them. How's that? But there's another one that I can't pull off the top of my. See, I told y'all, I'm there for you, and I'm okay with not being perfect. Join me over on Instagram. It's a great place, and make sure if you love it, share it with other people. Then I have my website if you just want to go and look. If you can't really remember what FOUNT is, Wisdom Teethinger, Wisdom Teethinger, wisdomteethinger.com. And if you find me on Instagram, there's a link to the website there. It's all there. Plus the FOUNT is there, obviously, and able to be seen. You can go through and see what it all stands for. You'll enjoy it over there on my Instagram. You really will. And you can help me build up my Instagram following. At some point, I'm going to throw it out there to your listeners. I'd love to get to 100,000 followers.
Where are you now?
I'm at 1,580 or something like that.
Okay.
You're supposed to set a goal of when I want to hit that 100,000. By January 1st.
All right. So before I let you go, in one sentence, I want you to respond to these 3 questions.
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
First one is, what are you passionate about?
Instagram.
Is that an in the moment answer?
I'm passionate
about answer.
Yeah, I'm passionate about wellness. I really am. My ears perk up anytime I hear people talk about wellness, and more specifically youth wellness. I'm very passionate about wellness as it relates to teenagers, especially. I want them to have their best life. There's no reason for a teenager to be suffering.
All right, let's try again for that one sentence answer. You gave me about 10.
Okay. But I said Instagram, and you said it. You act like it wasn't good.
But
so I
you went to the other extreme too. I didn't say a 1-word answer. You gave me a 1-word answer, and that's why I prompted you. And you gave me a paragraph. All right, so let's try again.
Can't follow directions, Can't follow. Ready? Come, ready.
All right. What greatness do you believe you bring to the world?
I thought you were going to give me that one again, so I can.
No, you already responded. No, number 2. What greatness do you believe you bring to the world?
I bring my passion and my energy and my smile to the world.
Those are things that will make a difference in this world. All right. And the last one is, who or what inspires or motivates you?
God. The Bible verse, to whom much is given, much is required, inspires me.
Profound. Profound. And I could see, based on these three answers, evidence of those things coming out in our conversation today. I could really see that. So it was good to delve into this wellness conversation. I hope it brought a different perspective to my listeners, not just focusing on the physical well being, because a lot of times the other aspects of our being impact us physically, and we're thinking it's all a physical thing. So check out Dr. D Nice's Instagram page. I think that's where you'll find the most information and the link to her website, and share the information that she's passed on to us today. It will not only make a difference for you, but for the others that you share it with. And Dr. D Nice, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Teacher Maxine.
As I've said many times before, 2020 is a year like none other in my lifetime. But amidst the challenges, it would be beneficial for all of us to focus on wellness. I hope you found nuggets that you can apply to your lives and share with others. You may also be able to apply FOUNT as a means of staying well during this time. To recap the ideas Dr. Hunter shared, let's consider the acronym FOUNT again. F, give your body the fuel it needs to be its best. O, be optimistic, remembering that finding true happiness is important in becoming your best. U, seek understanding, that is, figuring out important things will help you become your best. N, focus on natural, that is, protecting and healing your body and mind to bring out its best. T is for time. Use your daily 24 hours well and wisely to become your best. As Jay Stanford said, and I quote, "Health is a state of body. Wellness is a state of being." End of quote. Stay healthy and be well, dear listeners. Until next time, walk good and one love.